welcome. I'm glad you're here. Because January has 5 Fridays, I thought I would do a mid-month reading wrap-up because I have actually already finished 6 books and I will probably finish 2 more today, I believe. At least one I'll finish. So I think it might be a high volume month. Let's keep fingers crossed anyway. But before I start, I wanted to show you a puzzle that I did early in the month. I absolutely love this puzzle. I think I took a picture of it, so if I did, I'll put it up. It gives me Kiki's delivery service. Even though I had intended to do it Halloween, I was glad that I did it. So, books. I've read 6 books so far. 2 middle grade, 2 young adult, and 2 adult. So I'm happy with that. And I'll put timestamps for young adult and adult, but let's get into it. The first one I read was A Song for You and I. We're following Rowan mostly. Rowan is an apprentice to being a ranger. Rangers are meant to protect the area that they are in. The mentor is busy with the, let's say, graduating ceremony. So Rowan is left with a very easy assignment. They don't really want an easy assignment. They want to prove themselves. The mentor tells Rowan to go out and watch over the shepherd and his flock and the village in that area. But the shepherd is Leon, and they are more interested in playing their violin than actually watching the sheep. So when the storm comes, Rowan has a flying horse. They all have flying horses. The horse is Kess. Rowan flies Kess into a storm to go warn the shepherd that it's a really bad storm and that Leon needs to protect the flock. But Kess gets injured in the storm. And so now they are literally grounded. They have to walk everywhere they go and still deal with Leon, which at first really rubs Rowan wrong because the description in the book says that Leon is a lackadaisical shepherd. And that's true. But they both have their struggles that they're going through. They support each other in those struggles. So it's supposed to be a middle grade romance, fantasy romance. I didn't really feel a romance between them. I felt a friendship. I don't know, it felt very lackluster to me. I did enjoy it, so I ended up giving it a 3.5. One thing that I really did like about it, that the traditional, stereotypical gender presentation did not appear in this book. So I thought that was really well done. Ink Girls was the next book that I read, also graphic novel. Cynthia is apprenticing to be a printer. Her mentor says, 1, that secrets never stay secret, and 2, to always tell the truth. They publish leaflets. When they print this leaflet, Cynthia and her mentor are charged with treason. Cynthia manages to escape, wants to prove that her mentor is innocent and that everything the mentor printed was actually factual. And she gets help from 2 surprising sources. The heir to it's not really a throne, it's the seat of power. The way the description is in the book is it's a printer, a princess, and a pirate. At first, I actually wasn't really too into this book. I was hovering around a 3.5 to 3.75. By the time I got to the end, this was such a good girl empowerment story about how these 3 girls changed their city for the better, and I just really appreciated that. I thought that was very well done. My first young adult book, it took me a little while to read this. It had a few issues, but ultimately I did really like it, and I will keep going with the series, and it's Assassin's Guide to Babysitting. This is, think John Wick meets Babysitter's Club with a little Justice League in there. It's all for young adults. It's very high action. We are following True. There is very much a John Wick assassins kind of society that coexists with the regular world in Kansas City. They have talents, these assassins. The real world, our world, knows absolutely nothing about these. The talents are things like perfect aim, super strength, super speed. Those are the 3 most common. There's another one that's a little less common and it's kind of hard to explain, but it's basically a person can explode things. And it's not like by pointing at things, but they build up a power in their body and they explode of sorts and everything everything around them explodes. And so they're a little bit feared, but everybody is truly, truly afraid of, I didn't even realize, of True's talent, which she keeps hidden from the world and her best friends. She's a bastion. Bastions have indestructible skin, muscle, and bones. And so they are really feared. True's friend group is a typical friend group. Her best friend likes to babysit, but she doesn't like to babysit babies because she just isn't good with the little babies. And so she has a babysitting gig like Friday or Saturday night, and she invites True to come with her because babies love True. Then she gets called away by her sister to go on a mission. And so she does and promises she'll come right back if she can in time. But while her friend is gone and True's alone with the baby, assassins come in and want the baby. And so True runs away with the baby strapped to her. All the action begins. And it's a really well developed world. There's a few issues that I had with the story that probably knocked it down for me a little bit. One of which was, and this is probably all on me, when I was reading it, it made it sound like the entire Assassin's Guild was underground, but they're not. They have tunnels and they have event locations underground. They're very much in the world that we know. And the reason it was confusing is because they would talk about the sun shining and the green grass, and I'm like, you're in a tunnel. So it might have been something that I missed. I don't know. The other issue, and it was the biggest complaint on Goodreads comments, was the insta-love. True has a crush on her best friend's sister. That part I think was very well done. The kind of yearning and the looking and all that and the starstruckness kind of thing. When the older sister reciprocates, it feels kind of insta-love. So there's that. But I gave it 4 stars. Then my other young adult that I did was Ruta Sepetys, Between Shades of Grey. This has been on my December TBR a couple of times, or at least winter, because it looks like winter on the cover. It is about Lena, and she's in Lithuania in 1941, and it is about how the Soviets took people who were very pro-Lithuanian and took them away from their homes and put them in cattle cars. They spent weeks there as they traveled north and ended up at a work camp. It just was so meaningful and talks about a part of history that we just don't ever hear about. The Soviet Union absorbed a few countries. A lot of those people who were true to their original country ended up in these work camps. Lena's there going through all this with her little brother and her mother. Lena's 15. She's an artist. She was supposed to go like in a couple days to an art school, an elite art school for the summer. All of that is just, it's all gone. Her home is gone. Her possessions are gone. And she's in this cattle car with her family and many, many other people. She's trying to send messages to, she's like I said, she's an art student, and she's sort of documenting everything in her artwork, so she has to keep it hidden and keep it secret. The ending is it's just so good. It was really good. I gave this 4 1/4. Highly recommend. Now for adult, I'll start with this one, The Bright Years. I just finished this today. Sarah Damoff, I don't know if you can see it, try and get the glare, it's a multi-generational saga. Starts in 1958 when Ryan and his mom are fleeing his father. His father is abusive. They need to leave for their own safety. So then it moves to like 1979, and we're following Lillian. We see how she meets Ryan, how their relationship grows. They fall in love, they get married, have a kid. This is all, I'm not giving anything away. It's all in the description. They have 2 secrets. Lillian has a son that she hasn't told Ryan about, and Ryan has a drinking problem that he hasn't told Lillian about. And so we're following, there's 3 different points of view, but they're in blocks. So we start the first part of the book, we're following Lillian, and then we follow somebody else, and then we follow somebody else, and we see the impact of everybody's decisions as time keeps going. So it is considered contemporary because it ends in 2019. Just really liked it, but I didn't really connect with the characters. So in Storygraph, because I can do quarters, I gave it 3.75. I really feel like it's more like a 3.9. It just doesn't quite reach a 4-star for me. I'm clearly in the minority because on Goodreads, it has a 4.2 something rating. So it's clearly a love book, and I did really like it. Honestly, I didn't bond with any of the characters. I didn't feel any real connection, but I do strongly recommend it. I think it is, especially if you like a family saga, it is a good book. And my other adult book is also a multi-generational family. We'll just go go with story, because to me there wasn't enough conflict, not enough drama in it to call it a saga, and it is Where the Rivers Merge. And it has a dual timeline. Mayfield is a grand estate that has been owned by the Rivers family for generations. It is Eliza's dream. She absolutely loves Mayfield. It is her heart and soul. So we start off in 1988. That's the current timeline. She's now 88 years old because she was born in 1900, and her son is trying to have her removed as CEO of the businesses that the family owns. And then we move to 1908 when she's 8 years old, and we're following that timeline as she gets older and older. So we go a little bit back and forth, but not too much. I don't want to give anything away, so I'm not going to say when it ends, except that it didn't end. This is apparently 2 parts, and if this book had wrapped up, I would have been fine with it. I didn't know it was going to be in 2 parts. Even checked after I finished, and on Goodreads it doesn't say book 1. It just says the title. I was really surprised. I thought it was a standalone. I was not happy that it just sort of ended, and it didn't wrap up. It didn't, guess you could say it was a cliffhanger, but not really. If that was meant to be a cliffhanger, that wasn't a very strong cliffhanger. So I was really disappointed. I was reading that book a lot, but for the last chapter, I didn't read the last chapter. And so I ran over to the book and I'm looking at it. I'm like, what? In the audiobook, there's a note that says the author felt like the book would have been too long if she had done it in just 1. I would have to see that book 2 has super high ratings for me to continue. So I gave it a 3.75. It is still a good book. It just know, if you're going to read it, just know that it just sort of ends. That's it. If you read Bright Years, or if you read, well, I guess if you read any of these, I would love to hear from you. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.